What's up everybody? I hope some of you still remember me. It's been over a year since my last video, so bear with me if I'm sounding a little bit rusty. That said, I'm super excited to share with you all a new project that my friends and I have been working on. So, this is Bugging Out. It's a multiplayer bug catching game, the idea being that you explore a semi-open world, catch bugs, and then care for and train those bugs with silly little mini-games and competitions. There are 7 of us working on the project at the moment. We started all the way back in October, so it's been in the works for around 3 to 4 months now, which is hopefully showing, otherwise that would be quite embarrassing. I don't think that I've ever made a video where the game I'm showing off is already this far into development, so I guess the best way to handle this would be to speedrun through all the mechanics that we've got so far to give you a better idea of what this game's about. As you can imagine, for a bug catching game, the most important mechanic is of course catching the bugs. Then we've got bug races in order to level up your bug speed, bug fighting in order to level up your bug strength, player and bug customization, seasonal weather with the use of some very cool shaders I've been working on that I'll show off more later, a whole bunch of cool bugs to catch with more being added all the time, a few items with various uses like binoculars, a camera, or a cute little balloon to jump higher, a bunch of NPCs with various quests to complete, and the feature that I'm most proud of, which is of course multiplayer. More on that in a moment though. We also have plans for a bunch of new mechanics, particularly focusing on new minigames to play with friends, big tournaments that happen every in-game week, and your own personal underground burrow which you can decorate as you like and care for your bugs in. That's just about it for all the planned features and mechanics so far though, although since the game is still in development, everything is subject to change, especially if any of you have any ideas of your own that you'd like to share. Regardless, now that that's out of the way, I want to talk a bit about the process of how we got here, and everything that I've been personally involved in. Considering that this game is all about catching bugs, where better to start than to talk about them? I don't want to spoil too much, but I've been putting a lot of work into making the bugs feel reactive and fun to catch. When it comes to bug catching, there are 3 main components: the catch itself, the bug's attributes and stats, and the minigames and interactions that you can have with the bugs. At the moment, there is one main method of catching bugs, which is of course using the net. There are a few nets that you can purchase in the game, each one acting like an upgrade on the previous. As you progress through and earn money, you can unlock them, whether that be through competitions, quests, or selling bugs that you no longer want. The choice is entirely up to you. But we don't want nets to be the only method of catching a bug. For example, another method we're planning is fishing. Of course, there are plenty of aquatic insects you could fish up, but we aren't talking about those. Instead, fishing will be done through anthills, dirt holes, and other means, allowing you to catch different ant species, worms, and other ground-dwelling bugs. When it comes to minigames, the stats of your bugs are super important. All of the bugs are split into 4 main stats. These are health, strength, defense, and speed. All of these stats come together to play a role in all the different minigames. For example, most of the snails are all super slow, which means that they don't compete very well in races. However, their shell gives them high defense, making them perfect for other games. Bugs also come with attributes. They have their environmental attribute, which determines how well they perform in a given location. For instance, scorpions perform best in hot and dry environments, whilst an ant performs best in the field. There are other attributes too. Some act as debuffs, while others can increase your bug's performance in a specific minigame. Another big part of the bugs is their size, and this is our method of giving the bugs tiers. For example, a small bug has relatively low max stats, whilst a larger bug can get much stronger. The size of the bug you can catch depends on the tool that you use, but you can also level up your bugs over time the more you interact with them. There's plenty more to talk about when it comes to the bugs, and we'll share more as the project develops. Until then, I think it would be best to talk about my biggest challenge so far, which, as I am sure you can imagine, is multiplayer. Networking is one of those things that completely changes how you approach a game mechanic. In single player, you could just tell a bug to move somewhere, and that's it. As long as it actually moves there's nothing else to worry about. With multiplayer, however, unfortunately, there's a lot more to consider. At its highest level, you can think of multiplayer games as being split into 2 parts, the server and the clients. Clients basically just refers to all the players that are in the game, whilst the server is what connects you to everyone else. The server makes and handles all of the important decisions and tells your computer what to do. So in our game, if a bug needs to move, it's the host's computer that decides where it's going, whilst your computer doesn't actually make any decisions at all. Once the server has decided on a location, it sends what is called a remote procedure call, or RPC, to all of the players. If all the clients made their own decisions for things like this, you might see yourself catching a bug on your screen whilst your friend sees you grabbing a patch of grass, because their version of the bug has gone somewhere completely different. That's the core difference between single player and multiplayer, and it affects almost every mechanic. Stuff like handling shops and money, the bugs that you catch, who wins and loses in a minigame, the list goes on. Everything becomes just one layer more complicated, and whilst a lot of the core concepts are similar to single player, it does require a bit more forethought before you jump into it, at least for me personally. Another important part of multiplayer is the networking framework. A networking framework basically handles all of the low-level multiplayer problems for you. There are loads of networking frameworks available to you for Unity, but for Bugging Out, we went with PurrNet. Just briefly, I'm in no way sponsored, but PurrNet is great if you ever want to try multiplayer yourself. It's free, completely open source, and the core concepts like ownership and RPCs are super clear, not to mention the lovely community that has been incredibly helpful whenever I've had a question. If you're interested in multiplayer, I highly recommend giving them a try or just showing the developers some love. Beyond networking, I've also been diving into shaders. Unity's default terrain isn't great, especially for a sort of stylized cartoonish look that we're going for in this game. So I decided to build all of our shaders from scratch. I'm especially proud of the terrain shader, which uses triplanar mapping so textures don't stretch on steep cliffs, which is a common problem with the default terrain. It also allows me to automatically add cliffs to steep terrain, which cuts out loads of time, removing the need to paint in every detail. One thing that we didn't want to lose from a custom shader, however, was Unity's built-in texture painting, as we wanted to introduce new biomes into the map, such as fields, forest, and a desert. For those of you not familiar, Unity uses a texture called a splat map for this. A splat map is an image that is split into 4 channels, R, G, B, and A. Each of these indicate where any given texture should go. Using this data, I can basically do the exact same thing, except with my own little twist on it. Instead of using the textures directly, I'm treating the splat map like a mask, allowing me to do stuff like this, where I can paint over what was once some hills in a field and turn the entire place into a desert. And it's the same technique that's also allowing me to do other fun stuff like adding seasons. Using a global float, I've made all of the shaders react nicely to the seasons changing, allowing me to do things like change the color of the ground, grass, and trees. I'm not quite 100% happy with how it's looking, and there are definitely some changes I would love to make, but it's definitely been interesting to finally get into. Anyway, I could talk about this project for hours, and there's so much that I don't have time to get into just yet. Editing these videos always takes me days, even when the video is only 5 minutes long. In the next video, which hopefully won't be a year late this time, I hope to have a lot more stuff to show off. I'm working hard on the tournament games at the moment, whilst other members of the team are working on the terrarium and redoing the map, so there's definitely some exciting stuff to come. If any of you have any bugs, minigames, or just a mechanic you'd like to see put into the game, please do let me know. Again, I would love to get some community feedback and put your ideas into the game. Thanks so much for watching, sorry again for the wait, and I'll see you next time.